All right, so welcome back to another episode of the What's Your Motor podcast. Today, I have a young guest here today that's pretty inspiring. He's actually kind of one of the affiliate sponsors of the podcast as well, a great supporter as well. If you actually see, I'm wearing his gear today for My Inner Horse. His name is Neil. This young gentleman, we connected over Instagram. Got to see some of the things that he had going on. We talked, took a look at his website and things like that. And a lot of what he stands for and what he's trying to do actually aligns with what's your motive and intrinsically motivated, kind of what I've enjoyed doing or tried to instill in my students when I was a teacher and just being in education, period. So please welcome Neil to the What's Your Motive podcast. How you doing today, Neil?
Doing great. How are you doing?
All right. It's great to actually, get on screen with you and actually talk to you. I know we've been in communication over the past couple months or so.
Mhm.
You sent me some things, I've sent you some things like that, and we've been maintaining contact. But it's great to actually meet you in person,
Yeah,
especially a young
definitely.
person. Especially a
Mhm.
young person. So for the viewers, Neil, tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you're from, how old you are, and what you got going on.
My name is Neil. I'm from Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. I just graduated high school in June, and
Okay.
I start my freshman year at Santa Clara University out in California, just in like a week actually.
Okay.
And so when I'm out there, I'm going to be studying business analytics with a minor in entrepreneurship.
Okay. Okay. So you're moving away from home. You're going. Is
Yeah.
there a
Mhm.
reason why you decided to not stay in Michigan for college?
So Santa Clara is in the middle of the Silicon Valley.
Okay.
So going to a school like Santa Clara just offers me so many more options. Sorry. It
Uh-huh.
offers me so many more options, like in terms of just like opportunities for internships
Hmm.
and like down the line getting funds for companies. It just
Got you.
puts me right in the middle and I'm able to get a lot of connections while I'm in college and just gives me a much better base to build companies on.
Absolutely, and some beautiful weather, right?
It's always beautiful.
Because we know in the Midwest here, Milwaukee and Michigan, it gets pretty cold,
Oh
especially
yeah. hmm
around. I mean, it was even cold just not too recently, a couple of days ago. um, but yeah, so that's nice that you're going to Silicon Valley. So, what was it like for you growing up in Michigan?
It was pretty nice. I grew up
Hmm.
in a pretty nice area.
Okay.
I went to a private high school called Detroit Country Day School. So it's a
Okay.
college prep school. So through that, I was given a lot of like vigorous work, and I was also required to play sports. So I played both football and baseball.
Okay.
And so I just feel like growing up and being cultivated into a community that puts work first and
Hmm.
is built on strong work and dedication, I kind of just felt like I was molded into a pretty hard worker. And it just gave me a lot of inspiration to do things like start a clothing brand.
Got you. Got you. That's wonderful. And so before we even talk about the clothing brand, who were like your influences growing up? Obviously, like you said, you went to the private school
hmm
and you've seen a lot of work being put behind everything that they did in terms of effort, in terms of drive, and just being kind of like that self-motivated, right?
hmm
What give me somebody that was influential to you, whether it be like a parent, a coach, a relative, or friend.
I think that growing up, my dad was definitely my biggest influence. My
Okay.
dad's always been a business minded person.
Okay.
And so I kind of just feel like he's always instilled business values into me. And he's always stressed that being in business is always important.
Hmm.
So I think that growing up, he was one of my biggest influences, and he's the main reason why I'm kind of starting my clothing brand.
Okay. So, when you thought about creating your clothing brand, did you run it by him first, or were you like, I'm just going to do this and then talk to him later about it?
It was actually kind of an idea that we came up with together.
Okay.
We were kind of just talking, and I told him that I had like an idea for a clothing brand, and I kind of just told him that I just wanted it to be based on inner motivation.
Got
And
you.
then through talking together, we kind of came up with the horse mascot, and then I kind of just got it started based off of that.
Okay. And the name of your clothing brand is My Inner Horse.
hmm
Okay, why the name and what does that mean to you?
So when I first started the brand, I wanted to start it because I have a lot of friends that work out. Like through
Okay.
playing sports and being active all throughout my life, I've gathered a lot of friends that are really into fitness and really into working out. And
Hmm.
whenever we talk about what motivates us and what drives us, one of the big things that I always see is that my friends talk about other fitness influencers that they see online. Like they say, I want to be like this guy, or I want to have a physique or build like that guy.
Hmm.
And what that does is that it garners a really unhealthy mindset and it gives us an unhealthy motivation, which is in turn going to cause us to be really, I guess, self aware of ourselves. And it's going to cause us to self degrade on ourselves because we're not able to achieve those, I guess, progress and gains that all the
Hmm.
influencers are able to achieve because they're not doing that naturally. They're using Photoshop and they're using supplements and things like that. And
Absolutely.
so overall, I found that it just garners a really unhealthy mindset.
Hmm.
And so I wanted to start a brand that kind of transitions that eccentric motivation into intrinsic motivation. And so, which is motivation that comes from the self. And so when choosing like a horse for the mascot, I
Uh-huh.
wanted it to be an animal because I kind of took inspiration from Gymshark in that way.
Okay.
And so I wanted it to just be like a work, like just something that represents work and hard work
Right.
and determination.
Like a workhorse, right?
Exactly, like a workhorse. And so I'm also pretty into cars as well.
Okay.
And so one of the main determining factors for a car's power
Mm,
is horsepower.
absolutely.
And so kind of just with all of that, I kind of just came up with the name My Inner Horse.
Hmm.
That kind of just represents your inner workforce and your inner determination.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that. And my so like when I listened to that, I was thinking like back when I was teaching,
Hmm.
just like you said, your friends, they typically were working out, but they were looking at this other person as like, this is why I'm doing this because I want to achieve that versus it
Exactly.
being self fulfilling.
Hmm.
And I knew a lot of my students, they wanted to do things for the external rewards or because they saw someone else doing it, as
Hmm.
opposed to it being something they want to do for themselves for their own personal benefit.
Exactly.
And I think, and you tell me, Neil, I used to think about it sometimes about being intrinsically motivated. Like, am I being selfish? Do you think it's selfish to be motivated only by yourself? Or do you feel like that's the necessary foundation?
It's absolutely necessary, I think, to put yourself first because you are your own person, I feel. And I think that you should do what you think is the best and
Hmm.
you should do what makes you happy and what keeps you motivated.
Hmm.
So I think that obviously it's good to take into consideration things from outside sources. I
Hmm.
think like advice from other people and things that other people might tell you. It's good to take those things into consideration. But overall, I mean, you're your own person and you make your own decisions. So I think that the best motivation comes from within because it's the healthiest form of motivation. Because when it comes from within, you know it's what you really want to do.
Absolutely.
So, mhm,
It's a lot more pure, right? And it feels
exactly.
great. Do you, okay, so now I'm glad we're on this conversation. I love intrinsic motivation. That's why I have intrinsic motivation. So hearing you talk like this
Mhm.
as such a young man, it really fills my cup, man. Like it gets me excited because it's like, okay, we do have kids that are out here that are legit
Mhm.
motivated for the sake of themselves because they want to be better, they want to do better.
Exactly.
But it's because you want to, Neil, right?
Mhm.
Do you remember when you really started thinking about being intrinsically motivated? Was it just or like, do you remember a time at a young age where like you may not have been aware, like, I actually want to do this for myself, as opposed to like you saying now, you started My Inner Horse when you recognized like how um your friends were working out and things like that. You was like,
Mhm.
okay, that's the motivation, unhealthy. Do you remember anything coming up as like a when you were younger to where like you were just automatically motivated to do something because you wanted to?
It wasn't always like that. I
Okay.
think that growing up as a child, I kind of was externally motivated, but
Okay.
I think that the intrinsic motivation
Hmm.
started when I started to play sports
Okay.
because I kind of started to see attainable goals that I wanted to achieve for myself.
Got
And
you.
all the motivation came from my own desire to be a better player and to be able to provide for my team better. And so I think that when I started playing a sport, especially such a team-minded sport like football,
Right.
I think that that kind of just transitioned my motivation to be
Mhm.
more from the self.
Got you. Got you.
Mhm.
And I imagine that, you being able to recognize that in high school,
Mhm.
and then now you're doing it in a business space with your
Yeah.
own business. Like, I'm
Mhm.
sure your determination and motivation to push inner horse even more
Mhm.
so, in collaboration with your education, because you're going for business and entrepreneurship, correct?
Exactly.
And being able to do that and couple that together, that's your motivation right now for my inner
Mhm.
horse would be to propel that, correct?
Exactly. Yep.
All right. So long term, I mean, let's do short term. So within the
Mhm.
next like 2 to 5 years, what do you see coming out of the My Inner Horse apparel, or even the internal, your overall mission for it?
So, I mean, obviously, we've just started out. The
Yep.
brand's only been out for about like 2 to 3 months now.
Right.
So I think that in 2 to 5 years, I think I see this brand growing a substantial amount.
Hmm.
I just really hope that in that time, I'm able to just show everyone what it's like to be intrinsically motivated and to have motivation coming in from the self.
Yes.
So I kind of just see this brand being a lot bigger. I
Hmm.
just see people getting a lot more motivation from themselves and just being a lot more aware in general.
Got you. Um, it's because, like you said, being self-aware, that's
Mhm.
extremely important, right? Like you said,
Extremely.
like, you recognize it in sports. Like, you know what? Like, I got some attainable goals that I know that I can reach that will help me be better for my team, but
Mhm.
it's also for myself. And I'm starting and I'm doing it for myself,
Exactly.
but it's going to
Mhm.
contribute. Are you targeting a particular group of individuals? So are you trying to get the young kids to build up to that?
Yeah.
Or is it like the older, or what do what's your target?
Well, I think that anyone who wants to wear inner horse can wear inner horse. It doesn't matter what age group you are. I
Hmm.
think personally, as a brand, I'd like to target people more my age, kind of like a
Gotcha.
younger generation,
I agree with
because
you.
I mean, that's the group of people that's going to grow up, and those are going to be the future leaders of the world. And so
Right.
I kind of want to target that younger audience so that these intrinsic values are kind of instilled in them from a younger age. And they
Absolutely.
learn to get motivation from the inside from a younger age so that growing up, they're able to harness that and really hone that motivation.
I love that. I love that. And I completely agree with that
Mhm.
because there's a saying that goes, it's easier to build strong children than it is to repair broken men. And,
Mhm.
sometimes um, I'm, I'm not super old, but I'm old. But sometimes, when you get older, you're kind of like stuck in your ways, as opposed to when
Mhm.
you're younger, you're a lot more, accepting of like some new ideas and perspectives,
Mhm.
if you will, as opposed to being an older person and feeling like you've been through all these experiences and things like that. And
Yeah.
you're a little bit more reticent in regards
Mhm.
to like, yeah, I don't know if I want to go that way. I don't know if I believe in that, but that inner horse, that inner drive is extremely important, especially for young children, whether it be academic, sports, or whatever or
Mhm.
whatnot. And I know my inner horse is a big sports,
Mhm.
um, has a big stake in sports, correct? So all sports
Yes.
driven
Mhm.
individuals and things like that.
Yeah,
Um,
I think all of our products kind of feature athletic like
mhm,
poses. So we have a shirt for basketball. I'm wearing our baseball shirt right now.
okay.
And then we have one for football. And
Uh-huh.
then we have one for yoga as well. And then we
Okay.
just have a general weightlifting shirt as well.
Okay.
And in the future, we definitely plan to expand those designs by a great deal.
Okay.
We're looking into adding like more styles, more, I guess, selections as well.
Okay.
So I think
Okay.
as our followers and as the amount of people that are embracing the Inner Horse brand grows, I think our selection of clothes is going to grow as well.
Absolutely. And
Mhm.
before I ask my next question, please add a soccer one. My son, he's 10 years old and he loves soccer. He loves basketball.
That
That's why I asked for the basketball one. He'll love a
mhm.
soccer one. But who are the people that are kind of like helping you with the branding and helping you with your ideas? Is it just solely you and you bouncing ideas off your dad, or do you have like a team?
I think, yeah, I'm getting some help from my dad with that as
Okay.
well. We're
Hmm.
using some freelance designers to help make the logos.
Okay.
So I think that all the ideas come from me. They're all original ideas. But I think that I give those ideas to my dad and he's able to help me get an actual product out of that.
Hmm.
And so I think that, and we also like bounce ideas off of each other. So I think
For
that
sure.
the branding and like the message of the brand is kind of a collaborative effort.
Got you. So talk about that a little bit. Like, how important is your dad's insight for what you're trying to do?
He's definitely important to it. You
Hmm.
know, he's kind of the person that helps motivate me, and whenever I need help, he's always there. So I think he's definitely a really great resource that I'm using
Hmm.
to help me, you know, do all of the exactly what needs to be done.
And then, so then my question would be, I know he has like you said, your dad has some great business acumen, right? So
Hmm.
obviously you have that to your advantage, right?
Yep.
Has it been something yet that he's told you where it's like, oh, okay, I see why this makes sense? Have you had like an aha moment with him at all?
Yeah, definitely. I think that in starting a brand and
Hmm.
just getting the experience of being a business owner, marketing, building a brand, you know, getting product, communicating with different people and different
Hmm.
manufacturers, I can definitely see why he wanted me to do this. It's definitely something I enjoy, and it's definitely something I think is very important.
Hmm.
And I think that every person should have some business experience because it really just helps with your communication and
Hmm.
it just helps develop a good growth mindset, in my opinion.
Got you. Agreed. I totally agree, especially with the growth mindset and just thinking and being optimistic, like even on your journey, in terms of you trying to set these different goals. I think it's important that you realize that, like, I may run into a roadblock, I may run into a hindrance, I may run into a block, I may get some no's from
Hmm.
individuals, but because of my self determination, I'm able to overcome that because I'm driven to do that. I'm self-aware.
Exactly.
I'm
Hmm.
confident. I have the self-esteem. I know who I have to support me, but I know ultimately it comes down to me, right?
Hmm.
All right. So one of my biggest questions that I typically ask on the podcast is, what's your motive? So I know you're self-motivated, but what is
Hmm.
your your motive for why you do what you do?
So, I mean, I do what I do because it's generally been my dream. I've
Okay.
wanted to be a business owner and be an entrepreneur for as long as I could ever remember.
Hmm.
I mean, it's always been the forefront of my mind, and I've always wanted to be in the business world. So I
Okay.
really wanted to get started early
Hmm.
because I feel like things like this, they take time. And I think that the biggest thing that drives me is just being able to help people as well, being able to help people my age, as being able to help spread this healthy motivation and just help spread this message.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hmm.
And again, like I just love the message because um I think, and maybe you agree, I think even when I was in school, I know you're still in school, but when you were coming up in high school and grade school,
Hmm.
education was incentivized a lot. Like
Yeah.
they wanted kids to do things for parties, for
Hmm.
extra recess, extra tech time. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
you get all these things,
definitely.
and it's like you find out that kids are really only trying to do well. Not
Hmm.
all of them, but most of them are trying to do it because they want to get that, or I
Exactly.
get this,
Hmm.
versus no, I actually need to learn these words because I want to broaden my lexicon. No, I
Definitely.
actually need to become a better reader because I don't want
Hmm.
anybody to send something in a contract that I can't decipher or understand, right?
Yeah, I
And I know
definitely
that's
understand
important for
that.
you for business, right? You know what
Hmm.
I mean?
Hmm.
So, have you reached out to anyone that has been able, but outside of your dad,
Hmm.
that has been able to kind of like, um, has taken interest besides me, um, in what you're doing or in your branding?
Yeah, definitely. I'm reaching out to a lot of influencers. I
Okay.
think my main form of marketing with this is just reaching out to influencers, giving them a shirt, and just seeing how much they're able to wear the shirt if they can post it. So I think I'm doing a lot of influencer based marketing.
Got you.
And so I definitely have been able to find a few people who are willing to help me out with that.
Absolutely, absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. And I'll be sure to continue to not only post but also share a lot of things you got going on, but also purchasing more shirts too to wear.
Yeah.
'Cause like I said, it aligns exactly with what I'm trying to do with intrinsically motivated and what's your
Mhm.
motive, because I want to make sure people's motives are pure as opposed to it always being external. Um,
Mhm.
and then I think my next question would be, where are you visible? I know you have Instagram,
Mhm.
but are you on Facebook? Are you on TikTok? Where can other people that are tuning in to the podcast or anything, where can else can they find you?
So currently we're on Instagram and X.
Okay.
The tag it's just my inner horse.
Okay.
And then we're planning to expand to TikTok as well.
Okay.
I think once we just get more selection and more of a fan base, I think I'm definitely aiming to transition to a platform like TikTok
Okay.
because that's where the majority of my preferred like customer bases. They're all on TikTok. They're all
Got you.
constantly sharing videos. And so I think that getting on a platform like TikTok and just having the resources to make high quality videos that will get clicks and attention is really
Right.
important. So it's definitely something I want to expand out to.
Got you. So do you have somebody in mind that you'll be having like kind of like do your videos, or you plan on doing those yourself?
I'm definitely planning on doing it myself.
Okay.
Um, I've done a lot of photography as well.
Okay. Okay.
I did a lot of sports photography in high school. So I
Okay.
think that I have the equipment to do it. I think that once I just get more of a base, more of a fan base, I
Mm.
think it'd be a lot easier just to push those videos out.
Absolutely. 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 And so as you have you started college yet?
So I move in about a week from now.
Okay, so about a week from now. A week from
Hmm.
now. Or do you have any apprehensions? Are you excited? Um,
I'm definitely excited. Definitely
okay.
excited to start. It's far from home, which is always going to be a little tough.
Uh-huh.
But I think that I have family out where I'm going to be doing college. So I
Okay.
think I have a good support system. So I'm definitely excited to start.
Uh-huh.
I think just start taking advantage of everything that the Silicon Valley can offer me. Santa Clara
Yes.
itself offers me a lot of tools as well. They have a really good center of entrepreneurship
Hmm.
that I definitely plan on taking advantage of. So
Absolutely.
I'm definitely excited to get out there and start learning.
No, for sure. And please keep me updated on everything you got going on out there,
Oh,
man.
definitely.
Like, and
Hmm.
however I could support, however I can, get you out there, I will for sure do that. And
Definitely. And
then,
thank you so much for that.
yes, yes, anytime, man. Like anytime. Like when you sent that to me and everything, I'm like, what? I'm like, is he serious? Like, this is great. Like, intrinsically motivated, inner horse. Like, I really, really appreciate that, and it's just great to have it come from such a bright young man such as yourself. And then
Hmm.
I'm in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and you're in Michigan. Like, it's crazy how things work out, man. You'll
Definitely.
end up finding that out. Like a lot of
Hmm.
your biggest supporters will be the ones from ways away. You know what I mean? But that's the lay of the land, and I'm excited to see how you progress with my inner horse, and I'm along for the ride, man. So trust and believe that. So, did you have any last remarks that you wanted to share with the people?
No, not really. I think I
Okay.
really love what you're doing. I think you're pushing out a really great message.
Hmm.
And I'm also always, if you need anything, I'm always here.
For sure, for sure.
Hmm.
And it's myinnerhorse.com.
Yes, myinnerhorse.com.
Myinnerhorse.com. So make sure
30% off sale.
30% off sale. I'll make sure I'm shouting that out. I actually do another drop today on Instagram, shouting you out for that and letting everybody know that there's a 30% off sale as well. I'm
Hmm.
gonna keep pushing, man. I'm gonna keep supporting you, Neil. Trust and believe, and I see great things coming from you, especially with you going out there and being able to rub those elbows out there in Santa Clara, in the
Hmm.
Silicon Valley, and things like that, dude. Hey, listen, it is 2024. I cannot wait to see. I cannot wait to see. I just have a great feeling coming from you, Neil.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you for pulling up, man. Remember, stay in contact. You have my information. We'll continue to be in conversations and things like that as well. Um,
Definitely.
my inner horse. What's your motive? Intrinsically motivated. Peace.
Peace.